Well, back to hardball. President Trump said Rudy Giuliani didn't have the facts straight when he revealed Trump repaid his personal attorney for that hush money payment to Stormy Daniels. Giuliani now says it was to resolve a personal allegation, not to avoid an election eve scandal, as he certainly suggested. The New York Times' Peter Baker writes that this is the latest example of a president losing control of his narrative, writing, "The past few days have offered a head-spinning series of revelations that conflicted with the version of events Mr. Trump and his associates had previously provided." Baker adds, the shifting statements also illustrated starkly why some of the president's lawyers have urged him not to submit to an interview by the special counsel Robert Mueller. Let's bring in the hardball roundtable. Erica Werner is a congressional reporter for the Washington Post. Adolfo Franco is a Republican strategist and RNC surrogate. And Jason Johnson is a politics editor, and he is the editor at TheRoot.com and an MSNBC political contributor. Adolfo, for the defense, what do you make of this
Always
Rudy
start with
thing?
me.
Well, why not? Because you're fine. And the fact of the matter is you've got to be in the barrel again tonight. Right. What is this about? Are they just roughing their way to the truth here? I think the president's still denying two key factors. One, he didn't order the payment of the hush money for the woman he was involved with. And two, it had nothing to do with an election. He claims both of them right now.
Well, a couple of things. First of all, it had nothing to do with the election.
Okay.
It doesn't matter.
Why do you say that?
I tell you why it doesn't have to do with anything with the election. I think Rudy Giuliani got this part of it right. This is a person who's been looking out for the president. I don't know when Mrs. Daniels, let's just call her that, for most people know her as Stormy Daniels, was pressing the president for payment, supposedly under this agreement. It could have been absolutely
10 days after the election.
Mr. Cohen had nothing to do with the campaign. He wasn't formally part of the campaign. So, and you know, on top of all of this, and just very quickly, the Wall Street Journal, when you read a piece by Bradley Smith, the former chairman of the FEC, of the Federal Elections Commission, he says, even if this payment is made, there's not an FEC violation on this. At the end of the day...
Why did they throw Edwards before the court on that issue?
You know,
it
was a completely different situation that was not, those were funds that were implicated during the campaign.
Why?
Well, there was
a hush-up affair.
There is nothing.
It was exactly the same thing.
It was not the same thing in any shape, way, or form. It was a hush-up affair. It was not the same thing. This is a person who had something that had to do with 10, 12 years ago, who has zero credibility, Stormy Daniels.
Oh, really? You think
she signed an agreement where she said she signed something. She said that she never had an affair. I don't know whether she made it up or not.
Okay,
I think the president's right. You get rid of these people as nuisance.
I like the Republican. I like the former friend of Trump that said everybody in America believes he had the relationship. Everybody in the world believes he made the payment, ordered the payment, because nobody is a lawyer that's allowed to write checks for $130,000 without anybody saying, yeah, you better do it.
Well, whatever Giuliani was attempting to do Wednesday night, which was interpreted maybe giving him too much credit as some kind of four-dimensional chess, where he was perhaps trying to get ahead of some facts that would inevitably come out anyhow from Michael Cohen.
Would you go on national television after dinner? I think that's a little dangerous. I worked in the house when these guys all got in trouble after, you know what I'm saying here? After the wine is served in the house dining room. And they go on, and then they have to go back and retake their words down, and don't go to dinner first if you're going on national television.
There's no way that anyone doesn't believe that this had to do with campaigns. And Rudy knew that. That's why he said it. Look, when you're running for office, I don't care if you're running for local school board, right? Your husband, your wife, your kids, your neighbors, your pastor, everybody's involved in the campaign. You can't say that Cohen had nothing to do with the campaign.
Let me get back to what I'm curious about. Why they do this just to twosome? How come they didn't share this with Kelly, with McGahn, the lawyer, with the new lawyer, Emmett Flood?
Trump rolls. He prizes personal loyalty, and we know that John Kelly is not on his good side lately. We don't know what kind of relationship he has with these other lawyers, each of them. Giuliani, although I guess they aren't very close, seems to be someone that he feels that he can trust, although the process of throwing him under the bus seemed to somewhat begin today when he said, you know, he's been on the job a day, he's still learning.
But he knows Rudy's loving the spotlight.
Why would you bring in I'm a lawyer. I wouldn't bring in the non-lawyers into the legal strategy and discussion.
Yeah, he's a lawyer.
No, John Kelly's role. I'm talking about John Kelly's role. You're asking why it is. You were talking about stovepiping earlier. The information and the discussion and the strategy.
Okay, I'm going to get Adolfo to agree with me. I think he wanted a street fight.
Yes.
And Rudy's good at a street fight. He wanted to bring two guys from the boroughs, not Manhattan, the boroughs, guys from Queens or whatever. They went in with a certain attitude towards the establishment. And the New York Times, let's have a fight.
Right. Rudy is pugnacious. Rudy reflects the kind of attitude that Donald Trump wants to have. Yeah. And plus, you know, Giuliani, just like Chris Christie, can set a land speed for how quickly they'll backtrack whenever it is they say something that Trump doesn't like. These are guys who are going to be loyal to him no matter what. So whether or not they really talked about it, whether he had his facts wrong, like Trump said, he knows that Rudy Giuliani is going to remain loyal to him, and that Giuliani will do whatever it is that Trump wants him to do, even if he changes his mind, unlike John Kelly.
And you know what? This is nice Washington talk on a Friday night. I thought this was about the Russian interference in the election. This is why this panel, this is why Donald Trump will win re-election. This is why Donald Trump will be fine after midterm. No, I'm dead serious. Judge Ellis got it right, with all due respect. Unfettered authority is a dangerous thing.
You used to do this to me all the time. Jesse Jackson, I know what you're pulling right now. Yeah, look, you're knocking down the fourth wall. I know you do. You know what you do? They always say, well, we're talking to particular here. Let's talk about the general issue. And if you're talking to general issue, they say, let's talk to particulars. You're trying to change the topic. I know what you're up to. Adolfo, I have one of those chairs that pulls you down into the basement. It supports you down there. The round table's sticking with us, and up next, these three will tell me something I don't know. You're watching Hardball.